Hey, how's it going? My name's Henry. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about how I set up my Notion for YouTube content creation and how you can set one up too. First off, let's address why I'm using Notion. For me, it's just because it's what I'm comfortable in. I've been using Notion for a couple of years as a task manager, a place where I store all of my notes, and now as a project manager for my YouTube content. The reason why I love using Notion is just because of how versatile it is. It can be used as a super simple solution for a task manager or a to-do list, or it can be used as a ridiculously super powerful project manager that manages different databases and links them all together. The possibilities are absolutely endless with this software. Now, to be clear, this setup today is super simple. It's just to get you started. It's just to get me started, but it's a really easy way to manage all of the projects that you're gonna have on and all of the ideas that you might generate. I've used Notion for some more complex tasks, and over the next coming months, I'll most likely be testing this specific solution for me and then adapting it to my specific workload and making it more powerful so it can do more things and automate more things so I don't even have to think about it. So I'll probably do an update in 3 or 6 months from now and talking about my Notion workflow and how you can optimize yours and make it a little bit more advanced. But today we're sticking pretty simple. Let's head over to Notion and we'll start building this out. So today we're going to be going over this super simple board style project manager that I've set up inside of Notion. This is where I store all of my ideas. So all the ideas that I brainstormed from the previous episode on my YouTube have been put in here, and then within these I've got little checklists and things like that. Now these all come pre-populated. Well, they're obviously a part of a template, and we're going to be basically showing you how to create this and then how to switch between different views to see which type of content that you're making. So say today, if I want to make some brand series stuff, then as you can see here, this is some of the content that I could make. These are the ideas that I've generated, and then I can pick one of those and then start making progress towards making that video. If I want to see all of them, as you can see, I can click on here and this will show me all of the different ones that I've got. And if I want to go to active projects, this will cut out all the ideas and this will show me all of the projects that I'm currently working on and what stage they are in. So as you can see here, I've got this Notion one, which I'm creating now. I'll probably want to put this into production as this is what I'm filming currently. And then once I've finished filming, I'll put this into post-production. Now, how this works as well is once I've done the pre-production checklist, I can tick all these off and then it's all done. Once I've done the production checklist, I'll put this, I'll be able to check all these off and I'm done. And then once I've done the post-production checklist, I can check all these off and then I'm done. And then the project is completed. And I've got a completed column so I can see all the videos that I've done. And then that way it's super easy to kind of see how many are built up and give me kind of more inspiration to keep going and to keep creating content because it is something that I love to do. So let's get started and create our own project manager. So to get started in making this, what we're going to want to do is add a new page over here. So if we click add a new page, I'm going to name this YouTube content test. And then what we're going to do is go down here and we're going to, where it says database, there'll be a couple of different set things that you can create out of this, and we're going to click on board. So once you press that, it'll look like this. This is just the template for what Notion creates when you click on the board. We're going to be using this as a starting point to create our project manager specific to creating YouTube content. Now, obviously you can adapt this to whatever you'd like, so feel free to get creative and make it yours, but this is how I'm going to be creating mine, and then you can reference off that. So first off, we're going to be changing this. We're going to go from completed to ideas. I like ideas in green. And then here, we're going to change in progress to pre-production. Then this part, we're going to go to production. Then we're going to click here and we're going to go post-production. And then finally, we're going to go finished or completed or whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to write completed. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this no status out of the way, and we're also going to click these 3 little dots here and click hide. We don't really want to see that. It will appear in some of the other things we're going to be doing later to help you to categorize the different types of things you can put in. So for now, we're just going to hide this. So now that you've created all these, that's fantastic. You can start adding new ideas. So as an example, we're going to just list out food types. Say you wanted to make a checklist for different types of food you're going to make for your YouTube channel. I'm going to start writing out some foods, and those are going to go in the ideas column. So first of all, you want to click this new button, and I'm going to type in pizza. I love pizza and I love pasta, and we're probably going to go down the Italian route for these kind of foods, but it's probably just going to be a general variety of foods as well. So I'm going to put in pasta for the next one. I'm going to go a bit Aussie, we're going to go Parma. Can we do everything in peas? We're going to go peas, and that should do. So these all will, when you click on them, they're their own pages, as you can see here. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to make a template so that whenever you click on these, you can add the template directly there to make it super easy to have checklists and things like that you have to fill out in order for a YouTube video to be completed. So we're going to want to come over here to where it says new in the blue, and we're going to click the arrow, and we're going to click new template. Now, as you can see from the yellow bar up here, it says you're editing a template. So this will basically say, hey, you've just clicked on a template. This is editing a template, not a real page like we have done with the pizza, the pasta, and the Parma. So to start off with, I'm going to actually delete this property. So as you can see, there is an assign property here. The assign property can be used for if you're using this in Teams or if you're using this with other people in the project. And basically what this does, as you can see here, my name pops up because it's my account. You can assign this to a specific person, and that's their job to complete it. Now, obviously for me, I'm a one-person band. I do everything myself at this point. So we're just going to delete that property. We're never going to use it. And click the delete button here. So the next thing you want to do is kind of add a property. So the status one is going to be all of the different phases that your project can be in. So as you can see, mine says production, pre-production, ideas, post-production, and completed. For me personally, I would like to add a property which can be called type of content. So type of content, as you can see here. And we're going to want to click the property type here. Now, for me personally, you can use the select icon, but I prefer to use the multi-select for the type of content and then select for the status. So now that we've got this type of content here, we can actually categorize the different types of ideas that we have into different types of content. This will help us later when we want to set up different views, and this will help us to basically identify one idea that we would like to produce soon in a specific niche within your YouTube channel. So what you want to do is start making these. For me, I have a brand series, I have life, I have reviews, I have tutorials, and such like that. So now with multi-select, as you can see, some types of content for me, as an example, is a part of the brand series, but is also a part of filmmaking. So filmmaking is another one of mine. So for me personally, there might be a video in future on how I capture B-roll for the channel. Now that's gonna be both the brand series and filmmaking. So that'll tick 2 boxes off at once, and that's perfectly fine. But in terms of the status, we're not going to have this in pre-production and production at the same time. Possible, but I like to keep it really simple, really straightforward. So whenever I do see all the different ideas in the active projects view, then I can keep it like that. The only other thing that you need to do before we move on from these properties up here is make sure that you have none in here. As we're editing a template, if we were to leave it like this, every single one that we created would have the status of pre-production and a brand film and filmmaking in the title. But now we don't want that, we want that to be empty. The next thing you want to do is basically create a template for what you need to check off. Now for me personally, I've got pre-production, production, and post-production as toggles. In Notion, you can use toggles. They're definitely one of my favorite. Basically, if you press the / button and type in toggle, it'll come up with toggle list, as you can see here. And basically what this does is it toggles open some content. So it's basically like a little folder that when you press this arrow here, it'll open up and show you all the content inside. So first of all, I'm gonna name this first toggle pre-production. If you press return or enter, then you can also make another list. So we're gonna call this production. And then I'm going to make the third one post-production. Great. So in pre-production, we're going to start making checkboxes. So in Notion, what they're called a to-do list. Now for me, they look like checkboxes, so I usually type in check here, and it'll come up with the to-do list. So once you've done that, then it's gonna pop up with this. Now these checks you can actually click done, and then you can also click undone. So for me, it's literally a checklist. As I go through these are the different parts that I need to do in pre-production before I can move it to the production status. So as you can see here, the first thing that I usually do is brainstorm ideas. As I've already brainstormed the idea for the video, it's more brainstorming how I want to go about those ideas. So for this particular one, I could have easily made this a really scripted version of do this, do that, do this, but I think I'm going to do that for more of a shorts video rather than this, and this is more of a detailed look at how I do it. So as you can see, you got brainstorm ideas there, brainstorm title ideas. Great. And we're also going to brainstorm thumbnails. Awesome. And then we're going to do shot list, scripts, schedule, location scouts, and potentially the YouTube video description. And then within this, you can also press tab to do basically a checklist inside of a checklist, so you can signify that these things have to be done before you can check off the main thing. So for me personally, the video description is description written. And then the next thing is affiliate links. Affiliate. Done there. There we go. And then basically I check those off, and then I finally check this off. So you can customize this to how your process is and what your process for making videos is. This is similar to what I've got on mine, except the script would be before the shot list. As you can see here, I probably wouldn't have a schedule. Location scouts I usually have if needed on here, and then I'll just tick them done, or I'll leave them unticked, and I know that they didn't need a location scout as well. But basically this will allow me to, for every single project, to go through and tick off these ideas as I go, so I don't make sure I miss anything when I'm making a video. So once you've filled all of those out, I'll leave them blank here because I'll be able to show you mine in the end. Then you can move on towards other things. So as an example, I usually have one that's called brainstorms. Love it. This allows me to keep everything in Notion by having everything on this page. That means that when I come back to this project, everything is in the Notion document. So I can find everything here. I don't have to look through Google Drive to try and find this specific type of folder or this specific document that I've hidden away. Everything is here apart from all the footage and things like that for the video. So for brainstorms, I'll usually go /toggle again. I love toggle lists. You can customize this to your liking. You can just have headings and everything out here. I just find toggles is a great way to keep things clean so that you don't have to scroll all the way down at the end by the time you're in post-production. So as you can see here, I'll usually have a toggle for title, and I'll usually have a toggle for thumbnail. And then you can also just have like an ideas brainstorm as well. That's usually a good one to have. And then within here, I'd literally just have a checkbox. I'd even just have a dot point, so use a dash and then press space, and then you've got a list here. And then you can list out different titles within this little thing here. And then if you wanted to, so say we put in cheese here, and we're gonna put that on the pizza. And if we go over here, then we can change the background color for this. For example, if I like this title, then I can highlight this green, and that can signify that I did like this title over some of the other ones. Now ensure all of these are empty, because as you can remember, we're still editing our template. We don't want to be putting any information in there yet. Once I've done that, this is usually how minimal I keep it. So as I said, this is a really simple version of what you could create inside of Notion. I just think that keeping it really simple allows you to be quite varied as to how you approach things when it comes to different videos. For me, not every video is going to need a script. So therefore, I don't have a script baked in here. If I find that in future, I do have scripts more in videos, then what I'll be doing is I'll actually go in here and add script in here because I know I'm probably gonna need it. That's the best thing about Notion. You can always come back and edit this template. But yeah, so that's what we wanna do. So now that we've finished our template for now, if you wanna add stuff, feel free to do so. if you want to go over to your blue new button, click on the arrow here, and then this is the one that we created, Untitled, and then we can go edit. So you can actually name this something as well, so I can name this YouTube in case you do both commercial and YouTube work and you want to put it in the same one. Then as you can see, the template is now called YouTube. So now when you're making different ideas and things like that, as you can see before, it still is the same process. I'm still type pizza in here and it will pop up there. The only difference is now when you actually want to start creating stuff, what you can do is you can move it into pre-production and you can click on it, and then you can click on YouTube. What this will do is it will populate it with the template that we've just created. Now this is absolutely fantastic because obviously in the ideas thing, you can just have all your ideas written out, and if they never get used, then they never have to be templatized. But whereas when you actually go in here, you don't have to rewrite everything, you don't have to do everything again. Anything that you do all the time, the template is a great way to put in, and then that way all you have to do is fill out the content rather than write the template for the content as well. So now that we've done that, I think a great way to try and change things up or make it easier for you to actually view things is to add different views. Before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add type of content. So as an example, pasta can be brand series, Parma can be life, and then peas can be both of these. So we're going to go brand series and we're going to go life. So it's really important here that when we add views, we click on this button here, and we have to make sure that it's in a board view for this particular project manager to work. You can mess around with different things like tables and timelines and calendars. This can help you visualize all of your projects in a different way without having it all as a board style. But for me, I prefer the board style to have a look at where everything is in production. So we'll want to click on board and then click create. Once you've done that, it'll mess everything up again and you just have to reorganize everything. So I'm just going to put ideas here, pre-production here, post-production here, and then production here. And again, we're going to hide this no status thing here. Now, it's important, as you can see, you're like, nothing changed. So what do I have to do? What we're first going to do is we're going to rename this. So as you can see, all you have to do to rename it is you need to go to the board up here, and then go to the three dots to the right of the one that you selected in, and then you want to name it. So for this one, we're going to go brand series. Great. So now that we've done this, nothing's changed. So we actually have to go over here to filter. Once we go to filter, this is basically going to filter for specific properties that each of these have to make sure that we're only showing the ones we want to see. So if we go to here and we press the plus, add a filter, and we're going to go add a filter. Then where it says where, we're going to select type of content, and then we're going to leave it on contains, and then we're going to go to brand series. Now as you can see, that just changed. So if we go back to our board view, we've got everything, we've got 4 things in here, but as soon as we go to brand series, there is only 2 things. Now this is important because as you can see, peas has life and brand series in it, and this one has brand series. So what it's doing is it's searching through all the cards that you have on the board, and any that are tagged with brand series, that is the one that it is choosing. So as you can see, peas has brand series. And as you can see here, pasta also has brand series. And even though peas has brand series and life, it still shows up. So this is awesome for kind of visualizing if you've got so many ideas and you want to make sure that you're creating something this week in a brand series type of content. Then all you have to go to is your brand series board, and then you have all the ideas that are related to brand series right there. So it helps you to organize everything and not get too stressed about how many ideas there are and that you have to try and get all of these done. So basically that's why I love these different views. Now another view that you'd probably love to have is if we add one more view and we go to board again, and we're going to follow the same process of changing everything back to its normal positions and then hiding the no status one. We're going to make another filter. So if we go to filter and then add a filter, and we're going to go where the status is not, and then we're going to go ideas. So what that just did is it removed everything in the ideas column. Another way you could also do this is just to hide this. So this board here, I usually name, go to here, active projects. Now this is basically signifying any projects that are in the production pipeline. So essentially this one here, we've got pizza in pre-production. Because it is in pre-production, it is here. As an example, if we have pasta and we put this into pre-production as well, then we go back to active projects and now we have 2 here. So this is basically just getting rid of all of the ideas and showing you the pizza and the pasta, and that's the only 2 projects that are currently working. So this is a basic overview of how I created my basic view of how I keep track of all of my projects in the project manager that I've created in Notion. I'm going to be advancing this one, changing it as I go, and I'll probably make an update maybe 3 or 6 months down the line when it's probably a way more complicated than what it is now. But I thought this is a great video to get out there to show people what they can create in Notion. It's really, really simple, but super effective. And it's a super good way to keep track of all the projects that you have without going crazy about all the different ideas and trying to keep things in Google Docs and everything else. And that's why I love Notion so much. So yeah. So I hope you learned something valuable today. I just built this out for me personally, and I thought you might be able to get some value out of it. It's super, super simple, but it's a great way to start, and I can't wait to see what people make out of this. If you like this video, click the like button. I'd super, super appreciate it. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you like watching videos on tech, filmmaking, and just building out a YouTube channel in general, then I'd love for you to subscribe as well. That's all for me today, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.